fitter, happier, more productive, comfortable, not drinking too much, regular exercise at the gym, 3 days a week, getting on better with your associate employee contemporaries, at ease.
Welcome, listen to the newest episode of Leader Singer's Dad. This is B. In this episode, as we show in the title, we are diving deep into a sound new system. It's called AI. Now we are just talk about AI, about music creation in the Sona or something. But this time with me, there is an honored guest. His name is yaboihanoi. He's a Bangkok-based force of nature and awarding AI sound artist and a former AI researcher scientist at Google and TikTok, and a composer who really worked for many music festivals like Sona and Montauk, and his work is beautiful. I just show you in our opening track. So welcome, Honai.
Thank you very much. I'm very, very excited to be here with all of you today and to talk about music, to talk about culture, to talk about technology, AI, and how all of these things come together and intersect one another.
Healthier and more productive. Okay, in a cage on antibiotics.
Here is our long time not on the show section is performance review. If one day before our recording, Hona and me just go to see OPN, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. What do you think about OPN?
I think the thing that really stood out for me in OPN's performance was the very, very dreamy textures that he had.
Yeah.
I really loved how he builds and sort of dissipates this dreamy energy and takes us on this ride with him. And sometimes it was very melodic.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was very noisy.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was very ambient. I loved it. I also really liked some of his pieces. I think towards the end of the set, there were a lot of like looping fragments.
Yeah.
And then he would put in these bass sounds like dum, 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 dum.
You really love that.
I really like that. And I think what really stood out was that his sets don't have, the typical 4 to the floor.
Yeah.
It's a
very light.
It's very light, and it almost feels like there's a lot of breathing, a lot of breathing room. And I also liked, I forget the name of the VJ or the visual artist that was on tour with him.
Yeah.
But I really liked how the artist was using a 3D environment that had these TVs in the 3D environment that were showing the visuals. And so there was this nice kind of like meta visual within a visual. Normally you project the visuals directly onto the screen.
Yeah.
But this one, it was like an environment containing CRT televisions that then were showing the visuals. I like meta experience of screens within screens. So I enjoyed it very much.
Yeah, and also there is some facility beyond the screen to do all the lighting stuff.
Yeah.
And, shining. But because you're a creator, so you watch the good part of his show. I'm a criticism. So yeah, the whole show is good for me. But for my perspective, it's not very suitable for the label who present them because it's more like techno label and it's a ambient and a little bit glitch, a little bit noise, but good audio visual.
Yeah.
But in that day, many people left in the middle of the show, which is but I suppose it's like the choice of the venue. That's my point of view. If it present in the museum, it will be fabulous. Yeah.
Yeah, I think especially that venue, when I've been to that venue in the past, usually I end up moving and dancing with the music in a very rhythmic way.
Yeah.
And I think when you're standing up for a show like this, there's this very strong feeling to sort of like move to like some kind of rumbly
you
sound.
want to dance, right?
Yes, I do think that set would have been really perfect for some kind of environment where you could, for example, lie down or sit down and just relax, and maybe you're even facing upwards instead of facing to the front.
Yeah.
I think that kind of environment, it would be a very, very strong fit for that performance too. But I'm sure, I'm sure they also maybe have looked for that kind of space.
Yeah, and here is the audience. If you want to sleep now, let's hear what we hear yesterday. Okay, let's dive into the AI music in the theme discussion. So the first question is that we all know you are Bangkok based and you were trained in the Thai classic music a lot. But you as a programmer and AI scientist who build core tech at like Google and TikTok. So most people see this is as separate worlds. So how did you combine it together? Or was there a specific eureka moment? Was it a slow or long process to you grab to idea how to combine together?
Yeah, it's a really great question. So as early as high school, I was already very interested in the hard sciences like physics, chemistry, and mathematics, and also in music.
Yeah.
So my two favorite teachers in high school were my physics teacher and my music teacher.
Yeah.
And I knew that in the U.S., if I could study there, I could double major in both. So I was very focused on trying to go to the U.S. to double major for my undergrad degree.
Yeah.
And so when I went to the US, at that time, I was aware of the connections between the two subjects, but I didn't know how deep it went. So what I mean by that is I didn't know that you have entire industries that explore the connection between audio and technology. So if you think about it, speaker companies, microphone companies, companies that make musical instruments, companies that make synthesizers, even MP3 compression, Ableton Live, DJ software. These are all made by companies that are at the intersection of sound and science.
Yeah.
And the turning point for me was when John Chowning, who is the inventor of the algorithm used in the DX7 synthesizer, came to give a talk in my second year university composition class. And I remember looking at this man and thinking, he's the coolest guy on earth. He has like these slides with all of these equations on it, and then he's talking about music. I knew in that moment that this is essentially like what I wanted to do. I was like, I want to do what this guy is doing. And I remember going to my
Your school, right?
This was when I was at Yale.
Yeah.
And so I went to my undergraduate advisor and I said, "This is amazing. This is what I want to do." And my professor basically set up a meeting with me and him. I still remember it until today, just being like, "This is so cool. This is like amazing." And that was the moment where I knew that there was a path forwards for me, combining music and combining science together. So in graduate school, that's what I focused on. So I did a master's in music technology, focusing on machine learning and AI for music generation. And then this was at Georgia Tech, Georgia Institute of Technology.
Yeah.
And then after that, I joined the Magenta team at Google, who were one of the early pioneers of using machine learning for creative applications for music and piano music generation. And
is that, I remember, is Libra or something?
So this was even before something like Lyria. Lyria is just in the last couple of years, but we're talking back in 2018.
2018, it's much earlier.
Yeah. So this was when we did not have ChatGPT yet. We didn't have any Stability AI. We didn't have any Claude. These technologies were still, the models were still a lot smaller.
Yeah.
But I worked on some key technologies with the Magenta team, like differentiable digital signal processing. It's like an open source library. And then after Google, I moved from Silicon Valley to here in Shanghai, where I worked with 字节跳动, or the parent company of TikTok, and I worked in their music and audio team, and we worked on music-related features and audio-related features that you can find in CapCut, you can find in TikTok, you can find in Doubao.
Yeah, Doubao, it's part of you. Very interesting. I saw this master give you a speech, right? Will be in flash. That will be, your epiphany moment or something, really.
I also wanted to note that during those 7 years that I was working in the tech industry, about 2.5 at Google and about 4.5 at ByteDance TikTok, this was very much focused on the technical side. So I was more a scientist than I was a musician, even though everything that I was doing was related to music, but my output was very much a technical output.
Yeah.
Music was on the side.
Get out the code, show me the code.
Show me the code, exactly. Show me the code. But now it's not show me the code. Now it's show me the music.
Listen, so I invite you. It's very surprising me that now in the AI generation music section, it's very hard for artists to use right now. We will talk about later, but your music is more organic to me. Just like okay,
thank you.
Yeah. So talk about the music again. So I see your music is famously uncompromising, right? For like the Thai tuning in the tech intern, that which means rejection, the whole Western equal temper moment, right? So beyond the tech, what are you hearing or feeling that get lost when music is focused in that standard 12-tone git? Can you describe the emotional or more spiritual color that give you some inspiration by the Thai tunes?
Of course. So I really like this question because it's really at the heart of what my music and what my projects are about.
Yeah.
So I have a whole body of work that is written in Thai tunings. It's electronic music written in Thai tunings where the bass lines are tuned to what you would hear on the kongwong, for example, which is it's a circular instrument of gongs in Thai music. So what I will do is I will measure actually and analyze the frequencies of instruments like the kongwong or instruments like the pi nai or instruments which is it's like a dizi from central Thailand. And then we also have pi nora, which is from the south of Thailand.
Yeah.
And these instruments have very, very specific frequencies that do not align with the notes that you would find on a piano.
Yeah.
And to me, it's very important to use these notes that are found on these instruments because it's part of the character. It's
the core of that culture.
Exactly. Right? And equal tempered tuning only came into existence because of the creation of the keyboard and the creation of the harpsichord and the pianoforte in Western music. Before that, actually, equal temper tuning wasn't even used like in the West, in Western music either. There were all these different types of tunings, but it was the invention of the keyboard that kind of standardized all of Western music to become one with this equal temper tuning. In the history of Western imperialism and expansion, this also got exported to essentially got exported to the rest of the world. And then our education system in music began to revolve around Western music. And so
it's like virus. in
a way, yeah. And the 12-tone system essentially became the center of the universe. But it really does not fit with music from so many parts of the world. If you think about music from the Middle East, music from all different parts of Africa, music from Japan, music from here in China, music from
Russia,
Thailand. Right. So when I write my music, I throw all of that equal temperament out of the window and I focus on the music, the relationships of the notes that are found within Thai music. And it's really important here because very often people will say, oh, well, if you have the tuning system of the music, then that's it, right? That's all you need. It's not just the tuning system, it's also how you move between notes in the tuning system. Right? That's very important. It would be like me going to someone in Western music and said, you have the B flat major scale. Now you can sound like Bach. Right? Like you can't, no, it's not about the fact that Bach used the B flat major scale. It's about how Bach harmonizes and how he does the counterpoint in the B flat major scale. That makes it sound like Bach. It's the same in Thai music. It's not just the tuning of the Thai music that makes it sound Thai, but it's understanding that if you're at this high note and you want to descend to this lower note, what are the ways of moving from that high note to this low note? And so when I write my music and I collaborate with the instrumentalists back home in Thailand, trying to really find ways of preserving but also reimagining these melodies and keeping them intact in my electronic music is very, very, very important to how I approach my music writing.
For my perspective that I see from the rest of the world, like just Western, from the Thailand, from Vietnam, from China, everyone is using this tag to reverse their own culture things. That's the more, things I'm more concerned about.
Yeah. Analysis using AI tools is very important to me, but there are also a lot of other artists that are using technologies to explore this too.
Yeah.
So you have, artists that are using modular synthesizers that are tuned, for example, to instruments from Vietnam or instruments from Southeast Asia, writing music like that. Too. Super interesting. I wanted to give one more example.
Yeah.
So a lot of people also ask why these frequencies are important. Can you tell the difference? And I always use the example of it's like when someone is teaching you all the 声调，但是如果你说, if you don't speak the 声调 correctly, a native speaker can tell, right?
Yeah.
You can. It's a very slight difference between like 你好吗 and like 你好吗, right? You can hear it, but this is the musical equivalent of that, where even just a slight change in whether you're pitching up or pitching down, it makes a huge difference on the meaning in language, and likewise in music, it makes a huge difference in the musical intent and the feeling of the music.
Totally understand. And here is our podcast cold fact time. That because the sound recording technique is only exist after 18th centuries, I thought. So before that is like writing the notes, right? And if it's on paper like crescendo or something, it's not very precisely, right?
Yes.
You just write a word, crescendo or something, but it's like Chinese food difference, Everybody need to add some salt, add some spicy, just write on the paper. It's before MIDI. Now MIDI is come and all the things can be recorded, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the difference, huge difference. A little explanation to our audience. And for the next question, I thought we can dive deep a little bit into the AI, right? Because it's AI music topic today. You have spoken about using AI to generate imagined sound and instrument from Southeast Asia. It's a fascinating and almost poetic concept.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you walk us through a specific example, maybe one of these imagined sounds for a track?
So this is another very important thing in my music, which is when I synthesize sounds, using technology to synthesize these sounds is a core part of how I make music.
Yeah.
And specifically, I try to generate sounds that are imagined and synthetic.
Yeah.
So made from synthesizers. It could be AI-based synthesis. It could be modular synth. It could be a hardware synth.
Yeah.
But I want it to sound like it comes from Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
And so when a lot of people listen to my music, they often ask, is this that instrument? Is this instrument? Is it that instrument? And I said, no, it's not actually. It's completely synthesized. But I'm very excited when they think that it's an instrument that comes from Southeast Asia, because it means that I've achieved one of my artistic goals, which is to use technology to almost imagine, a new dimension of what our instruments and what our musical culture could sound like when it is enhanced and supercharged with some of these tools. So a lot of instruments in Thailand, for example, the kongwong, which you can hear in this example. You hear it has this very beautiful metallic sound, this very beautiful metallic shimmer to it.
Yeah.
And so when I generate sounds, I try to generate sounds that have these very strong metallic characters to them that make you think of metals that are being struck, for example. And I think AI-based synthesis is actually really good at making the sounds of instruments that are made from metals. So you can hear it in this part of this track. So this is very, very inspired by some of the melodies that you would hear on, an instrument like the kongwong or the ranat, which is a instrument like a xylophone in Thai classical music. Yeah. I try to make my music inspired and sort of following in the same acoustic territory as instruments that you would find in Southeast Asia.
We can see the sample, but for our continuous string explanation, that is how you use AI to generate or guide, or we now some prompt engineering stuff to realize that.
Yeah, so there are many different ways of using AI in my approach. So in 2022, for my song Asura Tewa Chumnum, or Enter Demons and Gods, that won the AI Song Contest in 2022, that was pre-ChatGPT. So what I did was I used a reference recording of a binai player, and then I extracted all of the frequencies that they were playing, and then I fed this data into a model that could then transform this information into the sound of another instrument. So I could take the precise melody that was being played on a Thai instrument, but then transfer it onto a saxophone. And then when you listen to it, it sounds like this is a Thai saxophone with Thai tunings, even though this instrument doesn't exist, but as if the saxophone was played by a master of the Thai saxophone. Then you could
the prompt is master.
But there's no prompting. Everything was
before LM.
This is before LM.
Yeah.
And then once we had more prompting-based systems, I would use a tool called Stable Audio to generate a lot of these rhythmic sounds and rhythmic textures. And now what's interesting is you have a lot of powerful tools that have been released,
recent years, and the crazy for their military, storage as well.
Yeah, so there's like Suno, there's Udio, there's Ace. These tools can generate full tracks, but I've also been exploring how to use these tools to generate very, very specific fragments or very specific sounds that I want to use in my music. And I also use some of these generative tools to generate like sonic textures. So for example, in the show that you came to watch on Friday that I played with the Princess Galyani Watana Institute of Music in Thailand, and the show that we did here in Shanghai, this one, there was a scene where the whole part of the storytelling was to create this sense of digitally fabricated lies. So there's a part in the story where the main character is banished from the kingdom because one of the court counselors basically made up a story. This main character is a bad omen for the kingdom. And so we represented this with sounds of people speaking generated by AI, but they were not real people's voices, and they weren't actually saying real things, but it's like
gibberish or something.
It's basically gibberish, but
really,
but when you listen to it, it sounds like
that's one.
Someone is saying something, and so for me, this scene was supposed to represent, fabricated speech and fabricated content that is meaningless, but when it's consumed en masse, actually has impacts to society and impacts to how people think about the world. So I also use AI in these particular ways to kind of explore the relationship between like AI and society and how AI influences culture in all these different ways.
but here is a recommendation. There is a new podcast sent out this year. It's called local name in the Myanmar. That's called 诗书风 in Chinese, but all in Chinese. One of the podcaster is my friend. And the theme of the podcast is discussing about creative, the whole creative process. And half of their new episode is about AI.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
I will definitely
but I thought from my perspective, the AI, this kind of new stuff is more like it's influenced the creator first, then the society will take a little bit period or long time. Yeah. After all the creator, now the creator is for AI. There is two kinds of their perspective with AI. One is thought AI is a god. we can use AI to solve any question. Yeah, that's one thing. And, and another thing is AI is shit.
Yeah.
There's different kind of the perspective about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I still, my perspective is that, okay, it maybe takes a while or 10 years to let it really grow us into that.
Yeah.
But the application first. Yeah.
I think one thing that I wanted to also add is AI music is not just a generative tool. I think one particular thing that I'm very excited about is how generative AI for music can actually create an entirely new paradigm and an entirely new way of listening to music. So I'll give you an example.
Oh, interesting.
So if you think about music before the invention of vinyl, you had to listen to music with a live musician.
Yeah.
And when the recording technology was first invented, many musicians said, "This is the death of music. This is the death." People will not be able to tell the difference between live music and recorded music, and no one will listen to live music anymore. But that's not what happened. And actually, what recorded music enabled us to do was it allowed you to scale the musician beyond themselves. You could listen to their music without them necessarily being there. Essentially, you could duplicate your music. You could duplicate yourself all around the world.
Andy Hoare, right?
Yeah. And I think we are in an interesting situation now where imagine if you have a model that actually every time you play the song, the saxophone or the 古琴 solo actually changes slightly every time because it's almost like you're listening to a live performance. Every live performance of the same song is slightly different. The guitarist will do something different. The rhythm section will do something different. The vocalist will do something slightly different. And I can imagine a future where you have a generative model that is playing the song as you know it, but there are certain sections, for example, that the musician and the artist has dictated to be, this can change. This can change every time the person listens to it.
It's called improvisation.
But you let the model improvise. And this is very inspired by gaming because in the gaming world, you have this revolution that's going on from designing the game to now having a generative model that is streaming and generating the frames of the game in real time. The model is generating the game in real time. And I think it's very exciting to think about that way of interacting with an AI when you adapt it for music. So when you listen to a song, you can think of it like it's like MP3 V2. It's like a morphable MP3. If you think about it, it's not just exactly what was recorded, but it can change. And I think this is a very exciting way of thinking about music because in the same way that a musician can control what is recorded into vinyl and what is recorded into the MP3, I think this might be a future where the artist controls the AI model to deliver the musical experience to their fans and their listeners in a way that is just not possible with a static, non-changing MP3 file.
So that's your point of view. It will be a dynamic, player maybe in the future or
Yes,
something.
in the future. I think this is a very exciting potential avenue of where these technologies can go in a way that is like a meaningful experience for both the creator of the music and also the listener of the music.
Okay. We talk a lot about the software side and how the sampling, how to create. But for my very curious to search all your files in your website, that there is a hardware project.
Yes, you went very deep. This is a 10-year-old project.
It's very interesting. Now, because this podcast has a series that's called Strange Instrument.
Oh.
Yeah, I have made
Very cool.
6 episodes, different kinds of.
That's cool. That is cool. Oh my God.
Yeah.
We could do a whole another episode. on
Maybe
this
next
then.
time, right?
Next time.
Yeah, next time. So the hardware is called Fidura, right?
Yes.
It's a violin-like, or a trans culture, digitally fabricated fiddle. So one design works and sits in the museum.
Yes.
It's fascinated me most. You can be set in music.
Yes.
The instrument you created. So it feels like a physical manifest of your mind, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So what's the most unexpected lesson of failure on hardware building, or if there is any data-driven AI-informed concept into that?
So this hardware project I did in 2015. I worked on it during my gap year after I finished university. So this project is already 10 years old. I'm so happy you brought it up, because this project actually is the genesis of all the philosophies and all of the ideas that I have about how culture and technology can be used together.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the ideas that I have in AI and machine learning in the software domain actually come from this original project in the hardware domain.
Yeah.
Actually, and it's also because I actually come from a hardware background before switching into a software background. So I was like mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, physics, and doing all that.
Me too.
Yo, yes,
Yo,
there we
bro.
go. And then I switched to doing coding. Only in graduate school. So this project, it's a modular fiddle. So that's where fidular comes from. It's a modular fiddle. And these are fiddles that you can find across the Asian region. So in China, you have things like the erhu and the banhu. In Thailand, you have the sa'u and the sa'duang. In the Middle East, you have the kamanche. And these are instruments that actually have a very, very similar construction and a very, very similar acoustic mechanism for creating sound and generating sound. I actually interned with some luthiers in the north of Thailand. I learned traditional woodworking and traditional woodcrafting and how to build these instruments.
Yeah.
And I learned that actually you could redesign all these instruments so that you could actually take the component, like the resonating chamber from one instrument, and then put it on another instrument. You can think of it like lenses on a digital camera. Like you can take any lens off and put any lens on and customize your sound. I think one of the most challenging parts was actually just kind of learning about all these different instruments and sort of traveling to these different places to sort of absorb this information. Because one thing that's very important for me is when I design a technology, I want it to be done in a way that really respects tradition.
Yeah.
So I wanted to understand how these luthiers were building their instruments and how the technology that I create or the innovation that I propose can integrate with their way of life, can integrate with how they are working, not replace what they're doing, but to do it in a way that connects their craft with the technology that I'm working on.
Yeah.
This took a lot of time. I was working on this project for a year to basically learn about all these different construction methods of how these instruments are made.
Yeah.
And then doing it in a way that once I finished the instrument, I also brought it back to my teachers and I showed some of my luthier teachers.
Is that moment your attention is, oh, look at my baby or something?
So yeah, I was like, this is what I worked on. And to my delight, a lot of the luthiers who are masters of the instrument, they too were also very excited with what I had worked on. And I think it's because, for example, my teacher said that, hey, this is great for testing new materials. You've designed everything to be so modular that we can try different materials very quickly.
Yeah.
And one particular luthier said that, we live in an age where 1,000 years from now, we might not have wood as a natural material. Like wood might be so rare that we're not allowed to make instruments from wood anymore. Like wood is in a museum, which is kind of crazy to think about, but also not crazy to think about.
Yeah.
1,000 years from now.
Like AI 5 or 6 years ago or something. Now it's, every app is AI, right?
So they said that in an age where we can no longer make instruments from wood, the technology that you've created that enables us to use digitally fabricated methods to recreate these instruments and to think of new instruments is going to be even more important, which really moved me. Like when I was making this technology, I was not thinking 1,000 years into the future where we don't have wood, but this is the first thing that this luthier said. So these were some very, very eye-opening conversations and experiences that I had. And it showed me that you can design technology in a way that enhances culture and more importantly, brings culture together, because now you have a system where you can take different parts of different instruments and cross-pollinate them across borders and across nations. And this was not possible before. And a lot of these ideas I basically imported into the software domain. So a lot of my music and a lot of my research in the AI domain is about thinking about ways to use technology in this spirit of bringing cultures together and enhancing and supercharging culture.
Really interesting. It's a crazy concept, right? For like okay, there will be no wood or something.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard to think of, but I think the luthier who I met in the north of Thailand, he definitely has a very, very strong point when he says that.
As we talk about hardware, we are all hardware lovers, right? And then you go to graduate and you go to coding. Yeah.
Yes.
As an insider who helped to build tools like DDSP and TikTok MAWF is like Morph. Okay.
Yeah.
It's Morph project. You ever seen engineering room of the current AI music wave, right? And go to Sanoa and Montag and get out a lot of speech there. So from the vantage point, what's the most pervasive mass or simplistic explanation about AI music that you think most creators and the listener getting wrong?
I think when new technologies are introduced, there's always a wave of resistance against that technology.
Yeah.
So when synthesizers were first invented, there was a huge push against synthesizers. Oh, this is not real instruments. This is not real music. It's not as organic. But synthesizers are now a completely normal part of how we make music, right? If you don't have synthesizers, you wouldn't have like Skrillex, for example. So I think we're at this age right now where the technology is very new and there's this initial set of resistance. But AI-generated music is definitely here to stay. It's going to be an integral part of how musicians create music. And I think of it very similar to coding because I also use Claude Code for a lot of my coding projects. And now all software engineers have changed their working behavior to use Claude Code. I think that the same change is going to come in the music domain, especially if you work in genres like electronic music, for example.
Yeah, it's vibe composing.
Vibe composing, yeah. So, but I think it's not as black and white as, the music is bad, the music is good, it's AI generated, it's not AI generated. Let's think about coding for a second. So if a person asks a coding agent to write a piece of software, there is no denying that this person has created a piece of software and that they were able to vibe code it. But would you call that person a software engineer who understands that if you want to deliver an app that works 365 days of the year, that has security, that has all of this infrastructure to make sure that if 1 million people use their app simultaneously, the app doesn't crash. You can't vibe code that, actually. That requires engineering experience to be able to tell the model and Claude Code, for example, to do all these things. So what I'm trying to separate is there is no denying that many more people can code. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I think that's amazing that so many more people can have access to this kind of technical skill. But there's a difference between saying that someone can now code because of Claude Code versus someone is like an actual like engineer working on that. Or if someone can solve very complex mathematical equations by using Claude, would you call that person like a mathematician or just a person that knows how to use technology to implement like mathematics well. I think this is the same question that we should ask for music too.
Yeah.
I think there's no denying that AI technologies enable people to make music.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And some of this music can sound very, very professional. But I also think that there's a very, very different state of mind and a very, very different state between a person that is using an AI to make music by just prompting and then leaving it at that
Yeah.
versus someone that is actively thinking about what is the meaning of the music that I'm trying to make?
Yeah.
How is this music connecting with the audience? If the AI generates this, what are things that I'm changing, or what are things that I can edit, or what are things that I can transform to make the composition speak to more people or to communicate an idea that I have in a more deeper way? I think these are questions that an artist would ask themselves. So I think the comparison between the coding, mathematics, all the way to music is very important. And it's not just this black and white of like, oh, if it's AI generated, it's not real music. I think it's a lot deeper than that. It's about how the person is using the technology, but also most importantly, like, what are they trying to say?
Yeah.
I think
the application.
Yeah, it's the application, and it's also what is this person trying to say? Like, are they making the music to try to say something? Are they trying to communicate something to you? Is there a particular emotion that they want you to feel, for example? I think these are questions that differentiate between music that people really connect with, right?
Yeah.
Versus music that is just background music.
Yeah. And for my limited, observation that I have to add a supplement that for me, if there is something called, it's the vibe composing things, equal to the cloud on code, right? Now it's vibe coding, but actually for a lot of people who did not know any code system in Linux or in the Unix or in Windows, right? I saw Linus Torvalds has already say something like, if you really want to control the computer, you need to know the CLI, right? You need to know the bash. You need to know all the codes.
Yes.
Yeah.
You might ask, why do I need a musician when you have an AI that can generate the music? Why do you need a mathematician if the AI can solve the math? Why do you need a software engineer if the AI can write the code? You can get all the answers directly from the AI.
Yeah.
There's no denying that. But the reason that I think you still need an expert is because the expert knows what the right question to ask is. If you don't know what question you need to ask and how to ask that question, you will never get the right answer. And I think this is true for coding. I think this is true for using AI in scientific research. And I also think it's true for music too. I think some of the best music that I've listened to that I know later on has been enhanced with, like AI tools and things like that, have always come from people that are musicians themselves, and they know what musical questions to ask in order to generate the best output.
Okay, the last topic we have told is about the AI usage, right?
Yep.
But there is a valid concept that AI tools often trained on, like the Western music system. It's can be a new form of the culturally, the synchronicity together. Your work is different from that, right? It's not that everything's got the same, right?
Yes.
For other artists who use AI or non-Western musician traditions who wants to use those tools without being erased, what's your practical advice for that?
So the practical advice that I have is to first understand where some of these biases come from. So this is, how the data is collected, how is the model trained, what assumptions are made in the model, and then finding ways of essentially hijacking or for example, changing the data composition. Now, this is a lot harder to do in post-ChatGPT models, but in pre-ChatGPT models, for example, based on some of the technologies that I worked on in 2021, 2022.
Yeah.
For DDSP, for example, you could essentially train your own model with just an hour of recordings of a particular instrument. So if you have a very rare recording,
Yeah.
you can actually train a model on just an hour of those recordings using some of these technologies, which is very, very much doable by a musician, for example.
But now, how
But
about
now, if you want to train your own AI model at the scale and size of like a Suno, for example, it's just impossible to
It's
do on your own.
impossible, right?
So obviously, I'm very, very biased towards my way of working. Back in the day, artists would circuit bend synthesizers. So they'd open up the synthesizer and then they would patch different cables to put different parts of the synthesizer to be connected to each other in ways that it's not supposed to be connected with each other. And in the past, this is something that I would do. Like I have the knowledge to basically go into the model and do. I can basically like hijack and change how, for example, the latent embeddings are used in the model. But at first, this was very limited to someone with my kind of background that is both musically trained and technically trained. However, what's been so exciting in the last 6 months is to see how powerful AI coding tools have become for vibe coding. And so I actually am confident enough to say now that I think musicians can actually do a lot in terms of using Claude Code, for example, to hijack some of these AI models. If you want to, let's say, fine-tune a big model on your own music and your own data set, previously you wouldn't be able to do this if you're a musician. You would need to wait for someone else to make this tool for you. But I think now you could fire up Claude Code and have it set up all of the training and all of the infrastructure so that you can actually hijack the model yourself and customize the model yourself. And I think this is very important, actually.
But I thought the cloud code that if you use that to hijack, it's a middle layer, right?
Yes, it's still not the same as affecting the model itself, the foundation model. But I think there's different levels that you can attack and try to make these tools work for you. I think that trying to attacking this at the foundation model level is beyond what your normal musician and what we can do as an end user. Only the big tech companies or big university labs can do the foundation model level style research because they have the data and they have the compute. But if it's you and me, for example, we want to do something, we're a lot more limited. And so the point at which we make the hijack has to be a lot higher up instead of being like very, very low level. And I think these higher level up hijacking, musicians can actually, and artists can actually do a lot with Claude Code.
You can switch, right?
So a lot of musicians, for example, are able to write their own plugins for Ableton and for Logic by describing what they want into Claude Code. Like, writing plugins is a very, very specialized set of knowledge. But it's really exciting to see that musicians are able to vibe code this. And so I think the same is true where if you have an AI model that you want to change and to adapt, you can use Claude Code to hijack that model and retrain it and fine-tune it to do other things that it wasn't necessarily trained for.
From my usage of, try something like, as we talked before, Lyria, right? And also Sona and also music, other, like their models. From my perspective is that it's not that's the music I want to do for, amazing the audience. Sometimes it's more to the business side, right?
Yes,
for the consuming or cartoons or, like...
Sure.
Like that. Is it an opportunity for the artists who really want to break through to use the hijack technique?
So this is foundational belief that I have is that, well, these models, even though they're trained on hundreds and thousands of hours of music, they're still very much limited to what music they heard. And they can create combinations of the music that it heard. So you can combine opera with hip hop. You can combine jazz with soul funk. I was just listening to a really funny meme that someone created which is basically a funny skit on Star Wars, and Mace Windu became Bass Windu.
Yeah.
And it's a song about like Bass Windu. Basically.
Like the video I saw, I just shared with you yesterday. Right. Like the black Snape.
Exactly.
I'm Black Snape. Yeah, I'm Black Snape. Yeah, black cloak, black skin. Walk the hall, they whispering. Cauldron bubble, I'm different. Dark eyes don't flinch, just glimmering. House points, man, miss me. Came from pain, they history. Same blood, they fear, they diss me. But they copy my brew, still sip me. Side eye from the portraits. Cold stone, but my soul scorched. They ain't teach where I'm from. Had to learn from the alleys and the torch. Half prince in the world they hate. Half rage in the narrow gate. Half hood in the castle gate. Hold me, never run from Black Snake. Walking through the dark. One day my hand in a X in my heart. Turn that fear to a spell, then I spark. Yeah. I've been cursed from the start. Black Snake. They talk war in the streets. I see more than they see in the tower. Drive by, man, I glide by stealth. Broomstick, bring stone, cold showers. I ain't glorified shots, that's great. That's moms in black, that's waves. Of boys that ain't make old age. So I ain't my rage at the cage. Walking through the dark. One day my hand in a X in my heart. Turn that fear to a spell, then I spark. Yeah. I've been cursed from the start. Black Snake.
Yeah, you can do funny things.
So you can do really funny things, but notice that it's because those funny things are very, very clear existing genres.
Yeah.
Like soul is a very well-established genre. Jazz is a very well-established genre.
Yeah.
But I think musical creativity and new genres are created when people step outside of what has been created. They step outside the known universe, basically, of sound.
Yeah.
And I think AI models are unable to step outside this known universe of sound on their own.
Yeah.
But when you have a very, very creative and a very imaginative person that's using this technology, this can be used to help that person step into that unknown universe
zone
a lot faster.
Yeah.
I think that's why when you say that you're listening to AI generated music, it sounds good. There's no doubt that it sounds good. But is it a new genre of music? Is it like, wow, I have never heard anything like this before. This is a whole new way of thinking about music. I think that usually comes when you have a musician that knows how to use these technologies as part of their jumping out into the unknown universe of sound.
Yeah, for the audience, my prophecy is done. Yeah, because in the episode 61, I have a conversation with another electronic musicians talk about it, and I say, I tried a lot of time, but it's mediocre. It's not. I want something cutting edge that it cannot provide to me. So it's a fact. But I think hijack. I have never thought of that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a new way to use that. Thanks for sharing. And let's talk about your artwork. Now you're transforming for a scientist from Google and TikTok. Now you came to artist. Doing some, art, speech, and also, like the Sonar 2025, you done an AV set. It's very beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, and also with the live projection rooted on Thai, shadow theater must involve a lot of logistic and creative ideas. Can you share a story from that process when you change your identity from the, like the tech savvy to artist and grabbing the whole, show like that?
Yes, so the Sonar show, I was originally invited to give just a talk, actually, about my process. But in the very, very, very last minute, I was asked to do a set in their main Sonar Day lineup. This came maybe like just a couple of days before my flight. And of course, I said, yes, of course I can do this. And literally, I called up one of my friends from grad school, Avnish Sarwadi. And I told him, it's like, hey man, can you help make visuals for me? And so what we did was I work very, very closely with a Thai performing arts and classical dance troupe. They're called Kitboksip. It's run by Ajahn M and Ajahn An. They also were part of the performance that you saw a couple of days ago that was supported by the Thai embassy. And so previously, I had been exploring some visuals where I would write the music and I would send it to Kitboksip, and they would come up with choreography to go with the dance that's based on classical Thai dance, classical Thai shadow theater, but also they would invent new movements to go with the music. And so I had all these recordings that we had taken of some of their movements and dances that they had created for my music. But these were just videos of them dancing with the shadow background. And so what Avnish helped me do for the Sonar show was to create an entire AV set where we would do edge detection and transform these movements and transform these motions into these beautiful, mesmerizing visuals. And that was something that basically Avnish worked on in a coffee shop in Barcelona, like literally 72 hours before I went on stage.
Let me wonder who is the promoter of the Sona.
And that essentially became the show. And then those set of graphics have now become a sort of like a signature of my live performances that I do. This black and white, very geometric, very minimal treatment of Thai shadow theater and Thai dance and Thai movement. And Avnish and myself and Kitboksip, we have created a lot of works, a lot of live performances, including an upcoming one at the Goethe Institute in Bangkok, Thailand at the end of April. So that's kind of how this AV show came together. It was very last minute before the Sonar show, but it's now become a very, very important part of when I perform.
Okay, good. Maybe we can click the link on the show notes. Every audience can watch that show. That's great, fabulous. Thanks for sharing in the Sona. I have watched your speech. Very inspiration.
Thank you.
And looking at space that you have a talk, the speech in the Sona, but maybe before your interview that says the core of what makes Thai music, you're respecting the Thai traditional music. You know, in the age of remixing and sampling, that is a profound stance. So how do you navigate that respect? When are you, just deconstruction, speeding up, or apply heavy bass direction to those classic forms? Any boundary of that?
Yeah, it's a very, very important question, and it's one that I think about a lot. And the reason I was very happy you asked me about Fidular is because a lot of my aesthetics and a lot of how I draw these boundaries. With Fidular, what was the most exciting for me was to see that the traditional musicians and the luthiers that I had worked with, they were excited with my ideas. They didn't look at my ideas as a violation of their craft. They didn't look at it as me taking it in a direction that they didn't want to see. They were excited that I was working on something that enhanced what they were working on, that was clearly done in a way that was thinking about them in mind, but also it was my own unique spin to the instrument. So I take that spirit, and also I remember when I showed this project to some schools. There was like a maker fair in the north of Thailand. Music teacher came up to me and they said, normally my students don't care about traditional instruments, but after they saw your project, they think traditional instruments with 3D printing is like the coolest thing like in the world. So for me, that feeling, that spirit is what I use as a guiding star on when people respond to my projects, what feeling and what kind of response am I looking for? So when I'm writing music and I'm thinking about ways of reimagining these melodies and reimagining these rhythms, what's very important to me first is to understand and study what is the original context of this melody? What is it normally used for? Is it used at the beginning of a festival? Is it used to tell a particular story? Is it used to, some melodies are used to communicate like with spirits. Some melodies are used to communicate sorrow. Some spirits are used to telling the story of a person moving from one village to another village. Some are used only in religious rituals, for example.
So application.
So it's very, very important first to understand the original context and then find ways of reimagining it.
Yeah.
And I'm very, very lucky that I have so many wonderful collaborators and professors, like Ajahn Ananda Kong, for example,
Yeah.
who is one of the most well-revered figures in Thai classical music, and to be able to actually talk to
Yeah.
these masters and understand from the source
Yeah.
what these melodies are, what these rhythms are,
Yeah.
and then going through my process of reimagination. And it's very exciting for me when younger generations are excited by my music, and when older generations, I don't expect the older generation to go to Sonar and like dance to my music.
They are using the mixtape or something.
Yeah, but when they're like, oh, this is interesting. It sounds very Thai, but it's very different to what I've heard before. That already is enough. I guess the word is affirmation, or that response is already good enough for me, actually, because a very important part of how I think about culture is that something becomes part of culture when all generations consume it. So food, for example, like you have national dishes, and it doesn't matter what your walk of life is. If you're young, if you're small, if you're old, you enjoy like xiao long bao, or you enjoy tom yum goong, or you enjoy kao niu, yang, right? So for me, I want my music to be like that, where when the music goes out there, younger generations are excited by it, older generations understand what's going on, and my generation is excited by it. And this is the kind of response and the reaction that I hope that my music can create. And I'm definitely the kind of person that thinks, I think you can break the rules once you learn them and you know which rules to break. I'm very much like that. I know different people have different aesthetics. Some people just prefer to go in and you know, just do it. But for me, I like learning the rules so that I know which ones I want to break and why I want to break them.
That's the engineering, you know, thinking process.
Yes, I have a very, very
strong
engineering style way of thinking, 100%.
Yeah, we are smell like the same, so we make a podcast. But have you facing any, you know, the criticism for that? You know, you mentioned the old style, because one of my friend he rebuilt guqing to electronic, and facing a lot of criticism. Have you faced with that before?
So I think because I work very, very closely with classical musicians and experts, I'm very, very fortunate that I get a lot of constant feedback on how my ideas are being masters of these Thai instruments, are responding to my ideas. Now, of course, I also have my own ideas that sometimes don't gel very, very, very well. There will always be people that kind of disagree.
It's like, okay, either you're left or you were right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. But in my experience, the people that, and also when I work with artists that are also reimagining Thai music, they also have the same problem too. Sometimes they will have teachers that don't like what they're doing. It's not just unique to me, it's unique to other musicians. It's unique to everyone. In my experience, the kinds of comments when people are not as excited about the work that I'm doing is it comes from the old guard of
conservative.
Very and they said that like, oh, this is not Thai because it doesn't sound Thai. It's not using the sounds that I associate with Thailand, for example. So it's like, oh, if there's no Thai instrument, then how can it be Thai? You know, it's like these very kind of very conservative, very, very one-track thinking, where if it doesn't have a traditional Thai costume, or if it doesn't have a traditional Thai instrument on stage, then it by definition is not Thai, which is very different to the way that I think, right? For me, it's what makes something sound like it comes from Thailand is a lot deeper than that. So these are sometimes some of the comments that I get, and I think, you know, everyone is entitled to that. But for me, it just shows that we have a very different set of aesthetics. And honestly, for me,
you don't give a fuck.
When it's a comment like that. But for me, you know, I am most happy when I have 18 and 19-year-old Thai students in universities that recognize me at shows, and they come up to me and they say like, hey, are you yaboihanoi? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, I really like your music, man. And I'm like, you know, I'm like, you are my target audience, you know. So for me, when I have those younger generations who are excited about my music, I know I'm doing the right thing because I know that what I'm doing respects the culture. And if it can speak to the younger generation, then I'm doing what I set out to do, basically.
Yeah. For my observation now, maybe late 10 years, many of the traditional Chinese music is going to reverse like that way. That's the future. You know, the old one, like the Steve Jobs said, anyone who do not use mouse, they will die.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, that's my perspective. Okay, we talk about you work intensively with this master in the classic Thai, right? And looking at landscape, who is the one contemporary artist or collective maybe from Southeast Asia or elsewhere working with sound and technique in a way that excite and inspire you?
So I think I'm going to give you two artists. So specifically for sound and technology, there's another artist called Geng Chakat, who I'm also friends with. He's doing some very, very interesting music in two directions. He's a jazz pianist, and so he's done some reimaginations of Thai melodies through like more modern jazz. But he's also does a lot of electronic music and live coding using Thai tunings, and he has
live coding.
Yes. So you should definitely check out his music, and he has a duo with his partner. In English, it's spelled Nicha, and it's called Ilekeka. So they do like a gong ensemble. We just did a show together a couple of months ago. So
introduce to me. I will bring them on a Cyber Buddha.
Yeah. I think it would be a good fit. So that's on the sound and tech side. Now on the acoustic side, I think I'm very fortunate to have been connected to an exciting young new artist called Kanta, and he's a binora instrumentalist, so music from the south of Thailand. And actually, we met for the first time at Noise House Lat Prao, which is the place that your co-host was just talking about. He is doing some really amazing reimaginations of Southern music in the context of both the traditional sounds, but also the new sounds combined with like modern jazz, for example. And we've been working on a lot of music, thinking about it in electronic music. So I think those are two artists right now that I think are doing some really exciting work in Thai music and like the future of what Thai music can sound like.
Thanks for sharing. And our last question is, finally, casting your mind forward, what's the next note for yaboihanoi?
So one thing that I've been very interested in and very excited in is thinking about how music is not just its own dimension, but music is always part of dance. And music is always part of theater. And I'm now doing a lot of work and really focusing on live experiences that combine music, that combine dance and combine theater. In Thai culture, we have something called lakhon, and lakhon is, you can think of it as theater, basically. And so I'm very excited to be working with some awesome collaborators like Kit Boksip, like Kanta, for example, to think of performances where the music, the dance, the storytelling, the visuals is all one continuous medium, and they're all reinforcing each other. So you're not just there just to listen to music and listening to sounds floating in the air, but the music is very much tied to movement, and the movement is very much tied to story, and the story is also very tied to like the visuals that you see. So and I'm focusing on this because I also think that in an era of AI generated music, it will be very hard to tell the difference if you're listening to a song on your phone, if it was AI generated or if it was made by a real human. I think we're moving in that direction. But something that is live and physical, that is something that your body senses at a very visceral level. And so I'm excited to see where these types of these musical experiences, these theatrical experiences combining sound and dance can go. And that's essentially what I'm working on and what I'm focusing on right now.
I have experienced once before. I definitely want to come back and give us a tour or something.
Yes.
Okay. Here is our today's guests, Honai, and thanks for your deep sharing in the AI music.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Healthier and more productive. Okay, and I decades on antibiotics.
Okay, our next section is album recommendation. So give us a surprise, please.
Ooh, I've been listening to a lot of Floating Points recently, the artist Floating Points.
Yeah.
And specifically, it's from the album Crush, and it's a song called Falaise, Falaise. That's the song name, and Crush is the album.
Yeah.
That style of music has a lot of influence on the kinds of sounds and textures that I'm thinking about right now.
Ah, that's good.
Yes.
And here is my recommendation is our friend Supple Label. It got Volume 15. Brad, as known as throughout in, get another field recording again. This one, he goes to maybe back to US and doing some, new stuff. I have listened to that, fabulous. And again, Supple Label, love that in Beijing. Another experimental album for the audience. This is the underground music sound magazine facing the future. The leader singer is dead. We recommend you to use Anytime Player, Antenna Pod, or other open podcast client to subscribe and listen. If you use Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube, which are platform-based podcast clients that do not support exporting data, it is recommended to visit our homepage to subscribe the email newsletter Gravediggers Notes to avoid missing update reminders. You are welcome to discuss and correct the program through email or Instagram, and can also visit the homepage to find the entrance to chat group. If you like this show and want it to be continued, you can repost episodes to social media or donate via Alipay or Patreon. All the related information can be found on the homepage zhuchangsile.xyz. Okay, the ending track part, maybe like the sounds you mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, can you describe this sounds? Why particular this track?
Sure. So I think I'm going to end with my classic, the classic track Ratewa Chumnum, which is kind of the thing that started, this entire journey of mine.
Yeah.
So what's special about this track is if you listen to the melody, the melody is generated and synthesized, but it follows the melodic inflections that you would hear in what is called the Satukan melody in Thai, in Thai music. And so you can hear all these inflections. Sounds very, very Thai. So just have a listen.
Thai.
Yeah, it's like when you taste something and you're like, oh, this tastes like it came from Thailand. Yeah.
Okay, thanks for sharing, and we are very honored to have Honai to our podcast this time, and maybe next time for the strange instruments.
Yes. Please have me back for that.
And the thanks for all the audience listening. Let's see in our next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
how many times you have sleep yesterday? Maybe 10 hours or 8
No,
hours?
it's been a very intense schedule these last couple of days. So
Yeah, yeah.
I've only, I've been going to sleep at like 2 or 3 in the
Yeah.
morning. So
Oh.
it's been pretty rough. So that's if I sound like my nose is kind of blocked and I'm a little sick, apologies. That's where it's from.
It's okay. It's okay. It's very sexy. I will,
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Can
editor
do some
too.
EQ and compression.
Yeah, I will do that for you.